Now we have in the studio, we have Jordan Cadavid. She's the outreach director for the Haven.
Yay.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be here today.
Well, thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
And people probably have heard of the Haven, but I was hoping you could just tell us what it is and what are all the things it does, and tell us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Haven's been around for about 65 years. We started in 1954.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. We started in 1954 as a preschool, and it was founded by 4 groups of parents. They all had a child with a disability, and obviously back then it was really, really difficult to find services and schools to put your kids into. So the Haven started as a preschool, and we actually were located right off of Airport Road. We were like in a little trailer right there. And then in the 1972 area-ish, we decided to purchase the property that we sit in now. So we sit on 32 acres off DeSoto. So we started as a preschool, and now we have a total of 8 programs where we literally serve from infancy up to senior living. So
Wow.
we literally help every single generation with people that have disabilities.
So tell us about those 8 programs. Go ahead.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
go ahead and name them,
Okay.
what each one of them does.
Yeah, for sure. So we started from little. I'll start from little up. So we have our Selby preschool. Obviously, we accommodate tons of little kids. We have about 43 children in the program currently right now. And what's really unique about the preschool is we offer therapy on site. So we have a contract with KidSpot. And that's been around for about 30 years at our organization, and they offer therapy at the preschool.
These are kids with disabilities. What kinds of disabilities?
It ranges. So we actually are about 60% of them do have disabilities, and then 40% are just typically developing. So it's really teaching kids kindness in the classroom.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an inclusion-based.
You did that on purpose, right?
Yeah, exactly. We have a Montessori inclusion-based preschool. So the disabilities range anywhere from Down syndrome to CP to autism, just behavioral delay, and then we have typically developing children.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so you have how many enrolled?
Right now we have 43, and then we have a good wait list. Our preschool director, Allison Thomas, is pretty unbelievable, but we actually just need to start we're filling it up, which is awesome. So
does it cost a lot of money, or?
No, I think it's pretty affordable. I mean, I don't technically have children right now, but I believe it's like $167 a week, but that actually includes breakfast, lunch, and snack and therapies
so it's
too.
competitive, it's affordable.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
got it. Okay, so that's the preschool.
Yep.
Then what's next?
We actually have our Haven Academy, and what that serves is middle school and high school ranges. So we have kids from ages to about 12 and then to 22. So anyone that has a disability, even in the high school system, you age out around 22 years old. So after they get out of high school, we have a transition program. So the transition program, we have somebody that works with people out in the high schools, out in the community. So like Northport, Oak Park, all those organizations. And what happens is some of those kids may not decide to go to college, but they're going to need to find a place for a job.
Right.
So that's where the Haven comes in handy, is the fact that we have a Haven Industries program that gives people an opportunity to work in a comfortable environment, or they can also get work out in the community because we have job coaches. So we have the transition program that kind of helps those kids that are aging out of high school figure out what they're going to do for their next step. And then our next program that we have is our Haven Industries program. And I think that's really what sets us apart from other organizations, because we probably have about 200 clients right now that are in our Haven Industries program, and they work in a warehouse all day long, where we have a contract with Bell's. I'm sure you're familiar with like Bell's department store.
Yes.
So their headquarters is in
Yes.
Bradenton. So we have a contract with them and Sun Hydraulics, also with the Chamber of Commerce. And then we have 4 programs inside the Haven Industries itself. So we have our own catering company. That's our baking company. And then we also have our janitorial program. So we clean a lot of locations. And then our most popular ones are landscaping crew. So they actually go out and do landscaping work for like Easter Seals and Miracle League. So the Haven Industries program is like really the thing that's really unbelievable, is just getting people employed and empowering them and giving them an opportunity to work.
How many people are involved with Haven Industries?
Well, we serve about 800 people total a day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. So we serve about 800 people a day. And then actually at our campus itself, I'd say we have about 200 to 250 people that work in our warehouse all day long. And it's really fun because they have an opportunity to socialize with their friends. They're with their peers, but they're also making a paycheck, which is really what's the most empowering thing for them, is for them to make good money.
Well, I read on the web that 82% of the people with disabilities in that age group adults are unemployed.
Yeah.
So you are giving them employment.
Yeah.
Even though they have these disabilities.
Yeah.
Right?
And they're very capable. I think if people would just take the time to sit down with them, I think that's kind of where the stereotyping has happened with people in the disability community is people don't understand that they're really capable of doing things if you just tell them what to do. They're very willing. They're excited. They love to work. They're probably the best workers. I would hire all of them to work for me any day of the week because they're just such good workers. But, I think that's really the stereotype and the gap that we have right now is people not employing them. So we really want to help them with that. So we have that there. And then we have a lot of clients that obviously we have 600 other ones that we serve. They're out in the community. So you'll see them at Publix. You'll see them at TJ Maxx. They're, the typical kids that you see maybe at Publix and stuff like that are people that we employ. So.
And then keep going. You have some residential services.
We do. So we have a residential program, and that's very unique in itself. It's not like a typical residential home. It's a single family home, and our houses are usually around, when we build them, they're about $1.5 million to build. So it's a large house with 9 single family rooms. They all have their own walk-in closet. They all share bathrooms. But what's really cool about it is they actually have a vacation club. So it's not like they're not just living there. They go on vacations all the time. They just went to Tennessee. Our CEO took them to Vegas recently too, but I don't think they're going back there anytime soon because they really spent a lot of money. The clients had a blast. But it's just a really unique situation. They have a great social calendar. They're always doing something. They're always out in the community. So it's a really awesome environment for them to be around friends and peers. And it's more like a sorority and fraternity.
I bet you have a waiting list for that too, right?
We do. It's about 10 years right now for our wait list. Yeah.
So people should apply now.
Yes. As soon as possible, apply.
Okay, and then let's see, what else you got? Employment services?
We do. We also have a summer camp. We had our first summer camp this past year, and it actually turned out really well. We kind of used it as a trailer to see if we should go ahead and start a middle school. So that's why we kind of now have our middle school and high school. We kind of saw that there is a gap there in the community where we really need to fill it. So that incorporated our opportunity to open our middle school with our high school. And then we have also another program that's out in the community. It's called Careers Without Limits. And what that is it's for college students. So let's say I was diagnosed with epilepsy and ADHD when I was little. And at first it was hard for me to find work because I didn't know how to go about it. What should I do? Should I go to the career center? So we actually have a relationship with USF and State College of Florida where we have our staff, Carol and Sean, they go out to the colleges and they're there as a resource to let people know, we can totally help you guys find jobs. So it's a great opportunity for us to also help kids that, maybe a little lost and not really sure what avenue to take. So they actually sit in with them. They help them do their resume. They coach them through everything. They actually go out with them for their interview because they know how nerve-wracking that could be. And then they just help them. So once they find a job, too, what they'll do is they'll just keep checking on them for about 6 months. And then after the 6 months is up, they figure out if that's a good spot for them and that's where they want to work. And if they say, yeah, this is where I want to be, then they just let them keep their job or they'll help them find other jobs, too, out in the community.
So is there a waiting list for that, or can someone just apply
absolutely.
for that kind of help?
Yeah, that's a brand new program that we started this past year.
That's Careers Without Limit?
Yeah, Careers Without Limits. It's a great opportunity. I believe every college in the area, especially USF and then State College of Florida, we have a little office there set up where they can go and meet with people. And then I could always name drop and give information out on the air too to let people know how to go about doing that.
All right. So, one more thing on my list here. You guys do so much. One more thing is the 7,500 square foot Frank Stern Employment Training Center. Is that new? Yeah,
we opened that November of last year. I've only been at the agency for about a year and a half, and it's just blown up. Our organization has just exploded, which is unbelievable, and we're so excited because we're helping so many more families. But the Frank Stern building itself it was a vision that our CEO, Brad Jones, had about 7 years ago, and it took about 5 years for it to come to life. And it's literally this massive warehouse where we have opportunities to have semi-trucks bring in tons and tons of pallets of hangers. And what we do is we pop the little thing that says small, medium, large. The clients just pop that off and they sort everything up. But they do that for bells, and it's we get semi trucks like every other day. So it's a lot of work for them, but it's great because they're making minimum wage doing it. So the Frank Stern gave us a lot of opportunity for us to get outside contract work where our clients can be able to work in a comfortable environment for themselves and make a paycheck. So it's pretty unbelievable. We have about 220 people in that program right now.
220 people working every day for bills and others that probably. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
And finally, that wasn't the last one. I read about a therapeutic pool. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Judy's Oasis. We actually just opened that in September. We have a fabulous organization, relationship with the Fry Foundation. The Fry Foundation, they're based out of Newfoundland, and they had been coming to our Jingle and Jog 5K run for forever. And we had no idea like their involvement or how they wanted to get involved. And they actually presented themselves to Brad and was like, hey, we want to get involved with this organization. Like, what do you guys need? And one of our board members, her son's been going to the Haven for a really, really long time. And she's like, we really need something where they can have an amenity for the residents, and then also an opportunity for us to offer a unique therapy to our preschool kids and to some of our residents. So she explained to them that we really need a pool. So he just was like, okay, we're building you guys a pool.
Now,
so,
who was this?
His name's Daryl Fry. They have an organization in Newfoundland. We're the only nonprofit in the U.S. that they kind of work with.
Newfoundland, as in Finland, the country.
Yeah, in Canada. So,
okay.
Yeah,
Newfoundland.
I'm sorry. And they, it's called the Fry Family Foundation, and they've been really involved with us. They actually helped build a house, just like not that long ago, about 2 years ago too. So they're extremely involved with the organization, which we're really like blessed and thankful for.
So they just came up with the money for the pool, right?
Yeah, they just were like, we're going to build you guys a pool. So his sister is Judy. So that's why we named it Judy's Oasis in memory of his sister. And she's hilarious. She actually like swan dived into the pool the day that we opened it, which was pretty rad. Yeah, it was funny.
Well, have you ever been in it yourself?
No, I wish. They haven't let us get in there yet, but we actually started therapy about 2 weeks ago with our preschool kids, and they have had such great success. Like kids that really were not as involved in therapy, like they were kind of more distant, but when you put them in the water and you're throwing like balls and like squishy things at them, they're like swimming and jumping and doing things you didn't see when we were like inland, if that makes sense. So when they're in the water, they're more willing to do things. Sure. So we've seen a progressive like a increase in therapy that we've not seen before, which is really, really unique in itself. And then obviously we have our 6th residential home that's coming up. That's like the newest addition that we'll have on our campus, which I'm super excited about because that's going to take about 9 kids off the wait list for our residential program.
When will that happen?
It's happening on our campus on January the 31st at 11 a.m. It's open to the public. We've been encouraging a lot of people, if they're interested in coming to our campus, to take a tour, and that'd be a great opportunity and day to do it. So that's January 31st at the Haven, and that would be the groundbreaking of Mary Jane's house.
And that would 8 p.m. Did you say?
Or 11 a.m. 11 a.m.
11 a.m. January 31st.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a documentary I saw at the film festival called Swim Team. It was a swim team of boys with autism, and each one was different. And they interviewed the parents. You know, each one had a totally different story. But once they got in that pool and started, becoming part of a team, they won all sorts of awards.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable when they're in a good community. And that's what's so great about the Haven is that we're helping so many families that they didn't realize what their children are capable of doing. And then when you put them in an environment where it's an inclusion base and they're around other peers, you see them excel. Like their potential is so beyond anything you could ever imagine.
Right. It's got to help their self-confidence.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine if I had never worked before and you go to an organization like this and you're around your friends and you're socializing, you're having lunch and you're hanging out, and all of a sudden on Friday you get a paycheck too. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, this is the best place ever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything, are there other organizations like the Haven around town, or you guys are pretty much the only one trying to do this?
I think we're really the only organization right now that really focuses on employment and helping them with their independence and their opportunity to grow as a human being. I mean, obviously we do partner up with Easter Seals, and also In Stride and other organizations like that, Loveland as well. But I think we're just setting the bar to a different standard by having the opportunity to have people be able to come to the agency and get a paycheck and work, and building that confidence for them.
Huh.
Yeah. And we work with Easter Seals too. Sometimes they'll come over and like work on a project with us as well. Like we have Brad's so open, our CEO is so open to partnering up with other organizations and trying to help as many people in the disability community as possible.
Do you have any gardening or agriculture projects yet?
Well, we have our landscaping crew.
Right.
Yeah, so they always are doing stuff, but they normally are more like the mowers. They're usually on the tractors or something like that mowing.
Right.
They're not necessarily the planters, but they definitely can plant stuff if you ask them to.
And can anyone visit the Haven anytime just for a walkthrough? Or
Yeah,
a tour?
I mean, absolutely. I always schedule tours for people to come and take a look at the campus. Myself, our CEO, Brad Jones, will take the tours, but we encourage it because I think hearing about it's one thing. When you actually go to the campus and see it for itself, it's a whole nother eye-opening experience. Yeah.
Wow. Let's take a tour, Bob. We'll go.
Yeah, Bob. Come on, Bob.
Definitely. No question.
Perfect.
We got to make a field trip, Bob.
Yes. Yes.
What are you guys doing today? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right. So we got 10 minutes, Bob. Anything else you haven't told us about the Haven? How did you get involved yourself?
Oh, gosh. Okay. So unique story. I'll rewind you back a bit. I actually used to work for Carnival Cruise Lines. I was an assistant cruise director for them off and on for about 2 years. And we had an organization on board. It was St. Jude's Children Research Hospital. So we did a lot of fundraising events for them where we sold t-shirts and teddy bears, and we just really tried to get people on board. It was one particular day. It was called Groove for St. Jude, and we would dance and encourage people to donate money. And then we would just do silly things like jump in the pool with our clothes on or whatever we had to do in order for us to raise money. So we, that became a thing for me. That was the only thing I was starting to get excited about. We had a ton of activities I hosted, from karaoke to comedy, but the St. Jude thing really touched my heart. So when I turned 30, I was like, Jordan, you can't be cruising on this cruise ship anymore. You need to get back to land and get back to life. So, I ironically just applied on Indeed, and, they already had hired somebody. And I had shown up to the agency with my resume and told the CEO, I was like, I think I would be the best fit for this position. So they ended up hiring both of us. And we worked really well together. But it was just, for me, I got to a point in my life where I really wanted to help people. Mm-hmm. And having grown up with a disability myself, I realized it was a little challenging sometimes for you to get jobs and get involved with teams and sports and stuff like that. So, I think it was just a good moment. I don't know how I did it, but I got in at the right time.
How long have you been there?
I've been there almost 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're going to be there for a while more.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
I hope so.
Sure. I'm sure they have
Any questions you guys have for me?
Any-
Anything you can think of in regards to the organization?
Well, I can see how you passed work history with kind of a cruise line.
Yeah.
And doing what you were doing there was quite relevant to what you're doing now.
Yeah, it's different for sure, but it's so much more rewarding because you get to see the clients every day. When you're raising money for something that you're not actually seeing the children or the hospital or the nurses or the doctors, it's so much more fulfilling being around people every day.
Do you take volunteers from the community?
Yes.
At all?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I'm actually also the volunteer coordinator. So we always are looking for volunteers. Normally what happens if somebody's interested, we'll take them on a tour, show them all of our programs and figure out what they enjoy the most. Because I don't like having volunteers come and not have them doing something they enjoy.
Sure.
Because it needs to be purposeful if you're going to be volunteering your time and not getting a paycheck.
Sure.
So, normally we'll take them on a tour, and then if they decide what program they want to be involved in, we have them fill an application out. We really can start them volunteering within 72 hours. Once we get our background checks on, we can get them in the community. But we have so many big events that happen. We actually do have one event that I wanted to tell you guys about on March the 2nd. It's our first ever Great Mates Gala. On March 2nd.
It's great what?
It's called Great Mates.
Meats?
Mates. M-A-T-E-S. Mates. Great Mates. So we are partnering up with the Great Mates. It's an organization out of the Bradenton Yacht Club. And they had 32 nonprofits apply for this potential opportunity to be a beneficiary. And our Haven was chosen. So we have our gala with them on March the 2nd at the Bradenton Yacht Club. All proceeds come back to the Haven into scholarship opportunities for the Selby Preschool.
Cool. And can we find out about that on your website?
Yeah, you can. If you go to thehavensrq.org, if you go to events on that page, you'll be able to see all of our events that are coming up. That particular one, tickets are on sale right now. They're $95. And then there's also sponsorship opportunities for commercial companies or businesses or individuals that may want to sponsor a table for that event.
All right. Thanks so much for coming
absolutely.
today.
Thank you guys
Tell
for letting
Brad
me.
he missed a lot of fun.
I will. He got cold feet, I think. I don't know.
We'd rather have you than Brad. I'm just kidding. He's the CEO. So thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
And
Thank
it's
you for
amazing
having
what
me.
you guys do.
Thank you so much.
Okay.